Hello everyone, it's Jim Noden from Bright Eye Solar. Wanted to talk to you briefly about EV chargers. So if you've considered buying an EV or you already purchased an EV, one of the first things you'll think about is how you're going to charge it. And there's basically three types of chargers. There's level 1, level 2, and level 3. Level 1 charger is plugging it into your house and you'll add a couple miles per hour of charging. It's not real efficient, especially if you're using your EV every day. However, a level 2 charger, which is the most common, that will generate 20 to 40 miles per hour. And that's usually what we see in homes. Level 3 is really fast charging. I believe that's what you see when you pay to get your car charged in an hour or less. It's a lot of amperage. So level 2 charging is what we'll generally see. It requires 30 to 40 amps, generally speaking. And there's some really neat technology now with EV charging. Some EV chargers, for example, Enphase allows you to backfeed the grid. So you could use your car and say you're on time of use rates where you pay a higher amount a higher rate for your electricity, say during the day. You could have it put electricity onto the grid during the day. If there's an outage from the utility company, you could plug your car in and use that battery to power your home. So there's some really neat things that you can do. One of the biggest advantages to owning an EV is it saves significant amount of money over a combustion engine and fueling it with gasoline. So if you look at the electricity compared to gasoline, it's generally less. Around here, we pay 18, 19 cents per kilowatt hour. And do your own research. Here's the thing. You can go online and read what people are saying on social media. It's opinions. A lot of times the opinions are not backed up with facts. But it's easy to do your own research. You can look at an EV, see how many kilowatt hours it takes to charge the battery. If it's 10,000 kilowatt hours to charge it and you pay, 20 cents per kilowatt hour, it's easy to do the math to figure out how much it costs to charge the battery. And then you can figure out how much it costs per mile to run the vehicle. And compare it to gasoline and you'll see it's easy. Electricity wins over the gasoline. So it makes sense. People are getting EVs for a reason. It's because the savings are there. The savings are real. Now, if you could go solar along with your EV charger, this is really neat because solar costs less than what the electric company charges over the long term. If you buy the solar electric system, there is some upfront cost. However, most people, or a lot of people I should say, lease it or do a power purchase agreement. So if you pay $200 a month on average to the electric company, and I understand the summers you pay a little more, winters you pay a little less, but if on average it's $200 a month, you could pay maybe $180 a month for the solar to produce the same amount of energy. And you might say, wow, Jim, that's only saving me $20 a month. Well, it's saving you $20 a month in month 1 with no money out of your pocket. Some people do see more savings. Some people, the monthly payments are pretty similar to what they're paying the utility company. But the real benefit comes in over time. What we're seeing with rate increases, they're not 3% like inflation. They're not 3 or 4%. We're seeing 10, 15, 20, even 30% increases in 1 year. In the last 7 years, I believe we've seen a 50% increase. It's crazy. So if you're paying $200 a month for the solar, or I said 180, if you're paying $180 a month for the solar in year 1, and you're paying $200 a month for electricity from the utility company, by year 10, you're paying twice that. You're paying at least $400 a month to the utility company, but you're still only paying $180 a month for solar for that same amount of energy. So yeah, powering your home with solar, getting an EV charger, a vehicle, it makes sense. In the end, if you're powering your car with the sun, using clean energy, and I'm not going to talk about the benefits of carbon footprint offset, greenhouse gases, the sustainable energy part of it, the pollution from fossil fuels, the sustainability, renewable energy, versus non-renewable energy. I think it's something that should be considered, but even if we just look at the cost savings, it just makes sense. It makes sense to get an EV. It makes sense to power your EV with solar.